and there's an instant lock-in of the Zeri Wukong on the other side. I think we could all see that coming.
Yeah, for sure. And Yumi's up as well. So if Solari's not picking the Yumi, I mean, Vitality.Bee is going to be getting Yumi, Seri, and Wukong. You can't let that happen. Surely that has to be picked up here by Solary. But once again, the idea was, all right, ban the silence. That's always Diplex's answer into the Corki. So we'll let that one go through. Blind pick. Ornn is something we've seen so many times for a lot of the LFL teams so far. It's just one of the best stables we have. Usually we just see it answered with a Sejuani later down the line. And now comes the important answer, or question for me rather. Are you going for that Yumi, or are you just picking up a AD carry into this area before you go ahead into the second ban phase? There's also the likes of Viego into the matchup with Wukong. Volleybet also if you want to influence your lanes. There's just so many options because the draft has become so overloaded with Vitality.Bee barely batting over any OPs themselves.
I'm wondering, and they're taking their sweet time with it as well. A jungler lock-in against this Wukong, so trying not to go too far down in the pool, but it does still leave this Yumi open. Vitality.Bee could grab it here. I'm honestly not too pressed if they don't want to, because you already know that Solary don't want it, and you can grab yourself a top lane that's really nice into the Ornn, sort of exactly as they've hovered here. We've got the Camille. They locked it in, and it's clean. I don't mind the lack of Yumi.
Yep, and there we have it. As we already talked about earlier, Senna actually making an appearance for one of the first time today in the ban phase. Finally getting banned out against Asa here, stopping some of that extra priority that, allows yourself to all of a sudden pick a, normal top laner, support, whatever. We know all the combinations you get all of a sudden. So, Yumi will get banned now from Solary, and I think it only makes sense. You don't want to pair that up with the Zeri.
Yeah, this is nice, at least an adaptation, even if late. I am surprised that they didn't go for it specifically because of its pairing with this Corki, and the fact that they could have gone Ezreal, much like we saw just last game, and had immense success. But it's clear they've got a different plan, and perhaps a bot lane that can get a little bit more involved, perhaps a direct counter if they want to wait out what is likely to be a support pick from Vitality.Bee and try and straight up double counter that lane and just go for it against Jeswell and Jack Troll. It's not something that I've seen a lot, but it's something I'm open to.
I feel like they're looking for a Rakan. Well, actually, not. They're not going for that Rakan ban. I think Rakan would be very nice pair up with the Seri as well. I know it's kind of a blind pick and there's like Nautilus and Leona into it, but you can open up the kind of enchant around. Even Renata would be great in this instance. That completely just flew past my mind as well with, as in Sao diving in. But, it's a solo lane Seri.
Okay, this is really, really nice for Vitality.Bee, or rather, it's really nice for me, because I'm excited to see Diplex on Zeri and see what solo lane Zeri ends up looking like here. Should have a very comfortable matchup against the Corki, and once Corki gets access to range, of course, that becomes a little bit more difficult. But by that point, you've got 280 carries, you've got a Camille and a Wukong that can engage, and I'm liking Vitality.Bee's chances.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if we're going to get the AP build coming out from Seri too. We saw that in Super Week from Ica, where he was an absolute menace. We spoke about Rakan earlier, but obviously the script has been flipped with Jeskla locking in that Ezreal for himself on the side of Solary. They go for the Rakan themselves. They pair it out with Xayah, solidifying the Lovers duo. Obviously wants to play for down towards the bottom side. And let's see what you run around this up with. It's going to be in Karma. They're just going to be playing around the mobility with the shields. They're going to take it slow. They're going to play around the poke, and they got a side lane win condition. I mean, both compositions really got something to play for here.
I really like the Karma here, so this should provide them a whole lot of safety. We are going to jump into the game very shortly, and the Xayah Rakan, alternatively, on the other side, will give you opportunity to be able to jump onto this Karma, or even punish people like Skeins if you're able to get some really nice push.
Yeah, 100%. And, I mean, I like it both. Like, we were talking about drafting from Solary as well. It's not a bad draft coming out from them. You got the poke to play around with, long range with the Corki. You got the follow-up as well from Ornn. In a matchup into Ezreal, it wouldn't really surprise me to see that, the Xayah was not going to go back to any of the Gale Force Xayah, but would stay on the Eclipse route instead and go for the Lethality Xayah, so you still have some poke to play around with. But I think it's been matched as well on the side of Vitality. Poke from Karma, Ezreal, Seri if she goes AP. But there's also the side lane win condition. So I think the top side of the map is really where it differentiates between what it really does. Ornn gives them the benefit of, in the team fight scenario. But in the top lane instead from the likes of Vitality, it's more having that win condition on the side lane instead from Sugenda that, we've seen it on so many times already.
I mean, he already played. Yeah, he played the Camille yesterday. It looked convincing, and Vitality.Bee looked convincing. Let's see which of these teams will go 2-0 this week, and which of them will fall here. We'll see you after the break. And we hit the rift for the last game of the day. Solary versus Vitality.Bee. You saw the draft, now we get to see it in action. And we Goldborg, get to see Diplex on mid lane Zeri, something I'm very excited for, especially for a Vitality.Bee composition that I'm expecting to, once we hit that level 6 that we've talked about so much, fight early and often.
Yep, so we start out with a longsword here. Obviously, you can build that into a Mura mana from the side of Zeri. So while she starts laning this with AD, that really just benefits her in terms of, well, she is still an AD carry. She's, can push in the lane faster as well with AD items. And then opt into, Mura mana, opt in for the Luden's Echo afterwards. So that's kind of all Leandri's Torment if you're looking to do some extra damage on towards the tank. But either way, solid build pattern can be expected from the likes of Diplex and poke compositions all around. So that just seems to be the name of the meta so far. It's so much around spacing with the range.
I really like the AP aspect to Zeri, especially with First Strike, that allows you to pick up a lot of extra gold. Taking a look down at Jeskla as well, where Ezreal's runes are so often just a matter of what you feel most comfortable with. First Strike also opted into here, so a potential small economic advantage for Vitality.Bee if they can abuse that throughout the duration of this game. We often talk about early vision as well. It's worth noting that while we have some aggressive wards, they're mostly defensive vision placed by Vitality.Bee.
Yeah, so it's going to give some intel in the early game, not too much. Speaking of the two junglers, before the game started, and we were talking in pre-game, we were talking about Skeens in terms of his intelligent pathing to influence the lanes yesterday on a champion like Volibear. That's just not going to be the case today. When you're playing on the Wukong instead, quite often you're looking for that level 3, or not level 3, level 6 rather, where you finally get to have some CC, because you don't have too much set up in your lanes. Down towards the bottom lane, it's only really the Mantra W that can set you up. And up towards the top side, well, you're playing into an Ornn. If this Ornn has been intelligent, he's either got double armor, just due to the fact that he's playing against an AD top side in the early game, through the jungle, mid, and of course the top lane itself. So I don't expect too much action in the early game. The only one who's going to be making that should be Joker, who's got the potential for it on the Xin Zhao.
Yeah, and at that point, I mean, we're looking for, hopefully, some nice lane presence from Vitality.Bee to keep Jocko from getting too aggressive. Jeskala's already found a really nice push in this bot side, despite the fact that they're going up against Xayah Rakan, so at least Xayah's wave clear will have to wait until she's got a few more levels and can actually match this Ezreal. Until then, it's going to be Ezreal Karma dictating to you, and already Jocko going on an invade that is nicely answered by a roam up.
Yeah, you can see immediately also Skeens on the opposite side of the map. Just goes to his blue buff immediately, and Jocko has actually not engaged onto the blue buff just yet. He's hesitant due to the bot lane pressure coming through from Jeskla, and that's slowing his jungle clear down quite a bit up towards the top side of the map. Remember when I said mid laners was trading and all of a sudden a support came in? Well, the top lane equivalent of that is trading, and then a jungler is coming up. Let's have a look at what's happening on the top.
Does he get to back? No, he does not. There we go. First blood picked up by Skeens. Slides in after the blue buff and finds himself a cool 400 gold.
And honestly, yeah, just that's the reason why you want to try and evade trading when a person has a push on towards you, because if you have your jungler on the opposite side of the map, he's not going to be there to shadow you. He's not going to be there to bail you out of a situation where you get doped like we just saw. And it's super easy for Skeens on the Wukong, despite not having setup, to just come in and pick up a kill of a low HP Ornn.
And despite the fact that his jungler just showed top lane, Jeskla still has the confidence to arcane shift forward. Right now, we even got Jocko spotted, and everybody's roaming to collapse on this Xin Zhao. It's going to be another fight, and likely a flash force from Jocko if he wants to survive this. There it is, and there he goes. Jocko has gotten a blue buff, has gotten every camp on Vitality.Bee's side, but he's lost that crucial summoner.
Yep, and I mean, already from the get-go here in the early game, it's looking not per se disastrous, but very Vitality.Bee favored in terms of how they're playing. And that's also what we said earlier. You know, we were talking about, great, you beat Go yesterday, Solary. But today, you know, you can't only rely on the draft, you also need to rely on the individual aspect. And stepping up to the individuals of Vitality, that's a tall task. They're just incredibly gifted.
Even receiving the wave right now, Vitality.Bee still have a lot of control, and there's a reason that people are excited about this team. Knockup is going to land from Steelback. Jack Troll's going to get rooted. Ignite has gone down, but he is still relatively healthy, all things considered. Jeskla feeling comfortable enough to hold on to the heal throughout that, where the Ignite on the other side has gone down, traded by Jack Troll.
Yeah, but it is making the bot lane a little bit awkward right now. Jeskla barely has any mana. Jack Troll low on the HP too, so Asa and Steelback, they should continue to have priority down the bot side. They should be the one basing first, getting priority. So if Steelback wants to make a move on the map, he's allowed to do so. Problem for Steelback in this instance is just the fact that, well, you know, not really any lane to influence, even if you move out of the map. But I like the fact that Steelback went back, he recalled, let Asa clear the wave, and then of course, Rakan and Saya, they can recall together, unlike any other champion. And you can kind of just, you know, cheat the back timer with approximately 7 seconds for Asa.
And it's really nice because you get this very fast reset that allows you to catch a wave, much like Jeskla and Jack Troll are pushing in right now. It's already more difficult to push because it's a cannon wave, so the XP that Asa and Steelback are missing here is very little, negligible if it even exists at all, and that's one of the big powers of this duo lane. Throughout the rest of the map, though, Jocko has largely recovered, is up in CS against Skeens as he was earlier, but is feeling confident enough to move with the rest of his team into the river and maybe even onto the dragon.
Yeah, so it has been started up, and that's once again tempo advantage. Couldn't really influence any lanes, but it allows yourself to put yourself in a position where you now have the movement and priority around the Drake. Think word from Steelback, they have no intel that he's here. Jack Troll's going to find out in a second.
Gonna get knocked up as well. It's all about buying time, and Steelback gets out just as the dragon goes down. Remember, Jocko does not have flash, so you've got to turn on this, otherwise your jungler could go down. No CC, though, from Vitality.Bee is hurting them in the early game still. Jocko will end up balling, giving a second kill to Skeens, and a nicely timed check from he and Jack Troll.
And the butterfly effect continues in today's games. Joker earlier with no priority, being around the blue buff, trying to stay even with Skeens in terms of the jungle clear. Had to blow that flash to get over the Drake wall on his exit route. Now starting up the Drake. Vitality, they're not able to get it, but they're able to punish Joker just being there.
At this point, I mean, having lost both Joko and Keo, you've got a top side that is going to get out of hand, and more than that, a jungler who's going to be able to distribute that advantage throughout the map. Though there's very little vision right now. If you look at the actual river, almost nobody has any data. Vitality.Bee have still been able to predict Jocko's pathing really well. So much of this comes down to the game sense and experience that Skeens is bringing to the table.
Yeah, and you're completely right about that. Skeens though has finally hit level 6, and this is the mark where we said, right, this is where you come online. He's already come easily online before that himself. Having 2 kills to his name, Sugenda could set up a freeze on the top side, which would make Kyo's life very, very disastrous. And yeah, there you can see he has done that. Skeen is around the tri-bush as well, so if Kyo ever steps too far forward, well, he is just going to get engaged on.
Jeskla big chillin' right now on this Ezreal. Sheen in hand makes the poke so much easier. And the Hextech ultimatum's getting used up towards the top side. You want to take down Keo again, and that's looking like a task that is just as easily said as done. Skeens is able to knock him up twice, and Sagenda picks up the kill. Now things get even more problematic. We have the top side that was ahead. Now it gets worse, and you got a Camille that's accelerated towards an item where she'll definitely be able to sideline against Doran.
Yeah, Kyo not feeling too good in this matchup here. He got froze upon by Sagenda. The jungle move came through first from Skeens, and he just stepped too far forward with Joker not being nearby Jeskla.
Asa forced to ult there. Jeskla does flash away, but with this big of an advantage and with Diplex on the way down, there could still be kills going over. The laser doesn't land, but Diplex is still on the chase right here. Interestingly enough, going for the Caulfield's Warhammer right now, so a little bit more AD than the AP that I've seen in my solo queue games, but I'm down.
Yeah, it just builds into the Mura mana here for this instance, so you start building that up first. Jack Troll looking for... I mean, Steelback's out.
Yeah, he's good, he's good. Syra Congo's kind of crazy, eh?
Yeah, they do.
I remember when they first came out, you'd play with your duo partner, and you go, "Oh my God, we're so good!" And then you found out the champions were busted, and then they got nerfed, and now they're still pretty good. But it's just odd. My experience in solo queue is kind of crazy.
I mean, I'm a Rakan main, but yeah, speaking of good here,
Oh, yeah.
Joko finally able to pick up a Rift Herald for himself here, so at least they get a neutral objective going for them. Out towards the bot lane, though, still very low, and I think at best, Jeskley is just going to be looking for a reset here together with Jack Troll, but curious to see what they'll actually implement this Rift Herald, because they currently don't have any lanes pushing in. I think they're just going to be forced to drop it in the mid game, give Scarlet some plating on the Corki to like make him curve harder towards his power spikes.
Will it be more effective than last games? I think that's the mini game that we have to be right now. As long as the Rift Herald charges, I'm gonna be happy. And honestly, realistically, I'll be happy anyway. What are we doing? We're talking about League of Legends. But that's the goal for Joko, is to be able to at least manage to find some cracks on turret plates. I'd like to see that around someone like Scarlet, whose poke is going to be very important in keeping Vitality.Bee at bay. For a composition that wants to be all up in your face, one of the best ways you can deter that is by making sure they don't have full health when they do it.
Yeah, I think they could do is just wait for, you know, the 15-second minute mark for this next Drake, drop it in the mid lane, and create a pressure point that Vitality.Bee has to respond to. But even then, it can be a little bit difficult with it, because the bot lane of Vitality continuously have the priority. They're not going to do it by the 15-minute mark. This is still quite early, but at least they're still getting Scarlet some plating.
It's going to be good for them, as like we talked about, the poke really instrumental. Now Jack Troll did manage to roam up and make it an even 3v3, so they couldn't push for anything more, but still nice moves from Solary, keeping themselves in the game against a Vitality.Bee that started off well and that was favored to win at the start of the day. Solary have managed to keep their heads about them, even in what looks like an awkward situation, and still make plays happen, and hopefully make a play around this dragon happen, because it's an Infernal, and more damage, muy good.
Yeah, but I definitely think just through the posture right now, this is going to get picked up by Vitality. You can see the map state. Mid lane has just been pushed in by Deflex. He's going to be able to make his move around. Yoko's trying to get access to the river, but even then, the bot lane of Vitality is here first, so it's looking good.
Well, he's thinking about going for it. Doesn't quite commit, though. Doesn't go either way. Instead, just getting rooted up. Crescent Guard buys him a bit of time, and Diplex is unable to deal damage. On the other side of things, Jeskla is CC'd and taken down, but Scarlet is in a lot of trouble, and Skeens, with 3 kills, now has nothing to fear. Cyclone gone, though. No flash. Not a lot of survivability, but just enough with Jack Troll. It's a double kill for Skeens, and a huge fight for Vitality.Bee in the river.
Yeah, one thing is, of course, that Skeens is able to pick up these kills, but the extra utility that you get in these fights because of Jack Troll's shield, absolute immense. It looks like he was about to get one shot on the monkey, but quite quickly, he turns it around and just get a few kills again.
I can't believe he's alive. Keo on the top side trading against Sagenda should be able to win, but Sagenda flashing away right now does make this a little bit harder. Hookshot, when it comes back up, will be a tool that he can use to take down Keo, but it's a little risky. He's going to end up backing off. Remember, not a whole lot of vision in the river, just the Scuttle Crab for Vitality.Bee right now, and you cannot die here.
A little bit of a misplay from Sagenda. Didn't have the Hectic Ultimentum timing down correctly on the Call of the Forge Guard, which make matters way too close to the point where Sagenda felt like he had to flash away. Now, I finally present to you some ability power in the series. She's picked up a lost chapter. So there you go. It's coming. It's coming. Slowly but surely.
I'm excited about it because seeing,
it's disgusting.
Seeing these Ultra Shock lasers delete health bars is one magic trick that I am all about. With Jeskla and Jack Troll able to lay in quite a bit of poke themselves, we could definitely see a game where even when Solary are looking for a fight, they simply can't take one without just being taken down from 900 units.
And speaking of fights as well, like with the priority... Oh, hold on.
I don't think...
Hold on.
Jack Troll should be okay. Oh my god,
he's rooted.
Oh, he's fine.
Alright, he's out. Well, now that they spot Joker on the bot side, take a look at the opposite side of the map. Skeens clearing out the blue buff, once again taking away the camps. And, you know, this can just be allowed due to the fact that Diplex has mid lane pushed in, top lane pushed in by Sagenda. And They could even look for a dive on Keo. He's down to half HP. The jungler is not around. Yeah, Keo might be dead here.
How is this happening again? Shu on an Ornn of all champions who's supposed to be tanky, who's supposed to be good into dive. It just feels so rough to watch Keo now 0-3 towards the top side because though, yes, Ornn comes with the promise of utility in team fights, at this point, if you're committing to a team fight, Sigenda's going to be taking your base, so...
Yeah, I think Skeens has just found really good windows up towards those top side every single time in terms of when the right moment was to strike. And the fact that both of them was building Divines under it and has completed that before Mythic has come through from the side of, I mean, pretty much any of the members outside of Joko and Solary, does make it a little bit difficult, specifically on the Ornn to survive up there.
We've got a two-man gank coming in, though. Joko flanking along with Steelback, and Sagenda needs to die here. See if he makes it out or not. Stun does come in, but there's the grand entrance. Nice dodge with the Hextech ultimatum, but Sigenda's out of mana. Sidesteps the wind, becomes lightning, and it gets out clean with first turret. What a play.
Oh, down towards the bottom side of the map. Action still happening, but it's still not in favor of Solary. Jeskla and the rest of company should just be able to push in the bot side, take care of this second turret of the game, and remember, no heralds have been accumulated for Vitality.Bee. This is all through pure laning that they've managed to do this.
I am not over Sigenda's play yet, so I'm gonna take a moment.
That guy's pretty good at the game.
Yeah, that was kind of ridiculous. It is worth noting that not only was the Rift Herald claimed, but the economic advantage that Vitality.Bee have gained without a Rift Herald has been enough that objective bounties procced during this time. So there's a little bit of extra gold that comes with this Rift Herald to really help out Solary, which is bizarre because, I mean, first of all, great for them. Vitality.Bee have been doing amazing. But so crazy to think that Solary, who have still had a relatively calm game, especially towards the bottom side of the map, are at such a gold disadvantage now.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to some of the matchups they got in the world, right? As soon as they saw the Ornn blind picks again, it goes like, well, I know I can outperform Keo on my Aurelia. I'm just going to go, oh, not Aurelia, the Camille immediately. Now, mid lane power has been obtained. They're moving their members up towards the top side. We talked about Sugenda. Can he get out of this situation, though?
He's going to get knocked up soon. But after that, should be able to get out. Hook shot not available, it seems. And while he dodges, once again, the knockup, Shutdown ends up going to Steelback. The Goon Squad gets the kill, but gets a little gooned themselves with that gold allocation.
Yeah, definitely they're not the one you wanted, but at least you can still pressure a little bit. You get some gold on the map here. You can use the Herald. Well, I actually thought it was going to be used mid. They're going to be using it on the top side instead. Take this one down and pick up a bounty for themselves. So they're still fighting back from Solary. And remember, they still have a scaling aspect in their team.
Bounties are good, but hey, the scaling's only getting better for Vitality.Bee as well. Take a look at that Mountain Drake that just went down. And we've got a Soul that has already won 2 games today. Mountain Soul is very powerful, and Vitality.Bee are going to get stronger after this fight as well. Sagenda, plenty of damage to be able to take down Jocko or Scarlet. Jack Troll dealing with Scarlet right now, and perhaps dealing with is the wrong word as he's forced to run. Gets ignited, might go down. The shield is enough. Azza's still looking for him. Azza flashes forward, taking down Jack Troll. And it's just Sagenda. Skeens on the side, and Diplex coming in with Jeskla as backup. Skeens gets a big cyclone. The stun lands from Sagenda. Diplex plays it from afar, but Jeskla is laying in the damage, and even after getting knocked up, there is nothing you can do against Vitality.Bee.
Ace 18 minutes into the game. Solary, they finally get something back on the map, and immediately the cookie jar is just shot from Vitality, answering back, allocating all their members up towards the top side, punishing an overextension from Solary, and picking up the ace. Looking good once again from the boys in white. Oh, not white, they're yellow.
I cannot believe what we just saw. I feel like I need to sanitize my hands, because that was absolutely dirty play to be pulled off towards the top side. And now that they've got already the ace so early on, it's translated into the gold advantage that was already theirs. It's a 6,000 gold lead in favor of Vitality.Bee, and with only 3 deaths on their side, they've got so much room that Azza simply doesn't. This is exactly what we were talking about earlier. Jeskla and Diplex can keep you from playing the game.
Oh yeah, I mean, Asa couldn't even walk up to the turret there. That's how dire the situation was. And, I mean, they can just continue this. Barry is not even on the cards just yet. But it feels like it with the amount of pressure they have here.
Jocko got 14 gold and lost half his health. I just want to put that in perspective. Yeah, that's it's unlucky. And with Diplex on the side here, even for Ornn, this tower is not safe. Joko is forced right back in the mid lane as Skeens goes on an engage. A nice Crescent Guard buys at least Joko his life, but still loses him the red buff. And there is endless harass coming in here as really the 4-1 is more of a suggestion than anything, but it's more than effective enough for Vitality.Bee. Engage on Jack Troll. Can he dodge the second part of the Ornhorn? Yes, he can. Steelback still going to get the knock up. Support going to die in the jungle, maybe eventually. Maybe eventually. There he goes, and Sagenda finally shows up there. Has the Hextech ultimatum as well for another easy kill back. He's not even worried about fighting against two people, and the third simply can't pay attention because Keo almost dies trying to get to the fight. Diplex picks up a kill. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Nice snipe at the end on this Ultra Shock Laser.
To be fair, there's no magic resist on the Ornn, but 500 damage coming out from that shock laser. Absolutely disgusting. Now with the members Steph of Solary, Vitality.Bee, they're just going to be turning on towards the Baron. And this is where, Mats as well get even worse. We saw them siege up with Ezreal and Serge now. Now they'll have the Baron buff to accompany them. It's looking dire, I won't lie to you, dear.
There are a few words that one could use to aptly describe this game, but I took an English class, and I'm going to choose the word ridiculous, because Vitality.Bee can really do whatever they want. While they have technically lost another 300 gold, as Jack Troll is the biggest inter on the team, having died twice as much as anyone else, it's still nothing. And Skeens, Sagenda, maybe even Jeskla can take 1v2s, maybe 1v3s on a good day.
I mean, yeah, I think that's fair to say. Jeskla maybe not so much, but definitely Skeens again in this point of time. Who's gonna match them on a side lane? I don't think we'll find a single one. And while we have Drake spawning in 40 seconds, I'm not even sure that that's a worry or a prioritization for Vitality. No. They can just, make the most out of this Baron buff now.
Take the turrets and the dragon will come. Like all good things have come to Vitality.Bee so far. It is looking like a weekend where Vitality.Bee have managed to take mid games at the very least. We're not writing this game off just yet. To take copium.
Wow. I like that. I like that.
They've managed to take mid games, not just by winning them, but by winning them so ridiculously convincingly. We've got an engage here. We'll see how well it turns out. Jeskla does go down, but Skeens is still 1 versus 4, and he's got help on the way. Diplex from the side forces 2 flash, and Sagenda makes that look easy, popping in to pick up another kill with Skeens. He grabs a second, along with the help of Diplex, is underneath the tower. This is the goon squad that you should be afraid of.
Yep, comes to just in through mid, guys. We have a wave coming through. Baron buff still up. 30 seconds on Scarlet, 20 seconds on Joko. More than enough then, at least picking up the inhibitor. Zigenda just lead in on the red carpet. The minion waves on towards the bottom side of the map, and they are getting everything right now.
There's really no way to deny them. Even this inhibitor, now minions continuing to pile in. It does suck for Vitality.Bee that the bot lane is just running it down, but everywhere else is doing okay. And now that they've got this dragon as well, you're 1 step away from Mountain Drake. If you thought Skeens and Sagenda were unkillable before, just wait 5 minutes.
Oh yeah. And even with those 2 devs on each of Jester and Jack Troll, the pressure they have on the map as well is just immense. No one's outmatched. Currently here on Vitality, they are legitimately just once again winning through the individuality. Something we've come to expect from them when they're playing against lower placed teams, at least from the last 2 days. It's been a great week so far from Vitality.Bee.
Yeah, I think that's the really impressive thing about this roster and the way they've been playing recently, is that it isn't just wins, it's dominations that they're handing out to lower teams, and that is the that is the thing that you look for in a high-ranked team to say, well, they are absolutely and unquestionably going to be able to scale into the rest of the season, the rest of their careers, is this ability to really punish and punish hard. It's what Vitality.Bee are doing, and something that really I see no end to, with Agenda assigned to the mid lane and everybody else ape in the top side. We're going to get another tower going down, likely even without this Baron.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's the question as well. Will it even be necessary? So again, let's move from the mid lane down towards the bot lane inhibitor. No one's answering right now, and my god.
Oh my god, they actually almost killed him without ever being on the screen.
That is, it's not fun to play against, I'll tell you that much. You are pretty much just caught in a little pond. And Vitality.Bee there looking down this pond with a massive shotgun.
Joko has decided the safer place is the fountain. To be honest, I don't blame him. Having recently hit the Rift with fresh health, he's going to pile up against Sagenda, who sends him right back to that very same fountain with a single Q. And it's a matter of time before this engagement goes off. I'm just not sure who's going to pull the trigger first. Is it Vitality.Bee, who feels so confident they take the fight under the Nexus Towers, or is it a Desperation Engage? It's looking like a Desperation Engage, where Jessica, I will say, has been picked off. As Agenda joins the fight, Skeens has almost managed to equalize, and there it is, one kill going down. The towers have started to fall, and I mean that literally and metaphorically, as Agenda flashes in, deletes Scarlet, and Aza and Keo limp back underneath their towers, back into the fountain, and watch these Nexus towers fall.
Yep, that was all there was to it. Desperation fight, you said it, but either way, Vitality.Bee, they are so far ahead. It looked good, and my god, they continue.
it's just fun at this point. Farming up the damage numbers. Keo is lucky to be alive, and Vitality.Bee claim another domination in their 2-0 Week 5.
It is been a great weekend for the Vitality boys. They must be feeling themselves. They must be very happy. I think all across the board, we've barely seen mistakes, and it's just not one player standing out. It's all of them. That's the great thing.